A single, violent explosion in New Delhi has put the entire country's security apparatus on high alert. This blast, right near the historic Red Fort, has left everyone with far more questions than answers. So, what do we actually know so far? Let's get into it.
It all kicked off on the evening of November 10th, 2025, right at 6:52 p.m. You have to picture it. This is rush hour in Delhi. The streets are absolutely packed with people heading home, shoppers, just a totally normal, chaotic evening.
And right in the middle of all that traffic, a car just pulls to a stop at a red light. I mean, in a city like Delhi, that's got to be one of the most common things you could possibly see. It's so routine you wouldn't even give it a second glance.
But it's where this happened that changes everything. This wasn't just any intersection. This was right next to the Red Fort, a place that's not just a tourist spot, it's a massive symbol of India's history and its identity.
And in an instant, that totally ordinary scene was just shattered. The car detonated, turning a simple traffic stop into a scene of absolute chaos and horror. So what exactly went down in those first few critical moments? Let's take a closer look at the immediate aftermath of the blast.
Okay, so the specifics are this. The explosion happened near Gate 1 of the Red Fort metro station. The vehicle detonated and immediately sparked this huge fire, which then spread to other cars and auto rickshaws nearby. And what's really crucial here is the area. This is Old Delhi, one of the most densely populated parts of the entire city. That means the potential for casualties was just incredibly high.
And tragically, the blast was deadly. The first reports confirmed at least 8 people were killed, and more than 20 others were injured, not just by the explosion, but by the fire that followed. And authorities are being clear that these numbers are just preliminary. They could still go up.
So as the first responders dealt with the crisis on the ground, the focus very quickly shifted to the official response. How did the government react? And who's in charge of finding out who did this?
They didn't waste any time. A multi-agency investigation was launched almost immediately. It's being led by the National Investigation Agency, the NIA, which is basically India's main counter-terrorist task force, and they're working side by side with the Delhi police and forensic teams to piece this all together.
Now here's a really key detail. The case was filed under the UAPA, the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act. This is not your standard criminal law, it's a very stringent anti-terror act. The fact that they used it right away tells you everything you need to know. They are treating this as a deliberate act of terrorism from the get-go.
And the response went way beyond just the crime scene. A high alert was declared across all of Delhi, and even in other major cities. That means you'd see a huge surge in security everywhere, much more vigilance at places like railway stations and metro hubs, and closer monitoring of any big public gatherings. The goal was pretty clear: prevent any potential follow-up attacks.
All of this brings us to the single biggest question that investigators are grappling with right now. Was this a calculated act of terrorism, or could there be another explanation?
The argument for terrorism is pretty compelling. First, look at the target. The Red Fort isn't just a building, it's a powerful national symbol. An attack there isn't just about causing damage, it's about sending a message, striking at the heart of the nation's identity to create fear. And again, the fact that the UAPA was used so quickly shows this is the main theory officials are working with.
But, and this is a big but, the physical evidence from the blast site is kind of muddying the waters. Investigators have noted that the explosion didn't have the classic signs of a sophisticated bomb. For example, there weren't many reports of extra shrapnel, things like ball bearings or nails that are usually packed in to maximize injuries. So that opens up other possibilities. Was it a more crudely made bomb, or maybe something else entirely?
And this uncertainty, it goes all the way to the top. The Home Minister himself came out and said, quote, "Until forensic results arrive, no definitive conclusion can be drawn." In other words, he's saying, hey, let's not jump to conclusions just yet. Right now, everything hinges on what the science tells them.
So, with all this conflicting info flying around, let's just take a quick pause and separate what has actually been confirmed from what's still just speculation. Okay, so here's where we're at. In the confirmed column, we've got the basics. We know the date and the location, we know a car was involved, and tragically that people were killed and injured. We also know for a fact that the case is filed under the UAPA. But that unclear column is a whole lot longer, and it holds all the really big questions. Who did this? Was it part of a bigger plot? What exactly blew up? These are the mysteries the investigators are racing to solve right now. At the end of the day, it's the forensics that will tell the real story. The evidence will either point to a coordinated terror plot
or a tragic, unforeseen accident. For now, an entire city is on edge, waiting for answers. And those answers won't just solve a crime. They could shape India's security for years to come. The only question now is, what will that evidence reveal?